Hello, students! Today, we are going to learn about the mighty river systems that begin their journey high up in the Himalayas. Now, these aren't just any rivers. They are truly the lifelines for the whole of northern India. Understanding their journey is absolutely key to understanding the geography of the region itself. So, here is our plan for today. First, we'll understand the basic features of Himalayan rivers. Then, we will take a journey along the three main river systems, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. After that, we'll compare them. And finally, we will wrap up with the most important points to remember. All right, let's begin. Before we can talk about each river one by one, we first need to understand what makes all Himalayan rivers so special as a group. This will be our foundation for the rest of the lesson. Now, to start, you might remember that India's rivers are divided into two main groups. We have the Himalayan rivers, which is our topic for today, and we have the peninsular rivers. It's important to note that these two groups are very, very different from each other in where they start, how long they are, and even how much water they carry. This brings us to a very important question. You see the word perennial here. It means that these rivers have water flowing in them all through the year. But why is that? How is it possible when so many other rivers in India become very small or even dry up completely during the hot summer months?
Well, the answer lies in their sources. You see, these rivers have not one, but two powerful sources of water. First, just like other rivers, they get water from the monsoon rains. But, and this is the crucial point, they are also fed by the melting snow and the huge glaciers high up in the Himalayan mountains. This constant supply from the glaciers ensures they have water all year round. And because these rivers start so high up and travel such a long distance, they have a lot of power. With great force, they cut through the mountains, and over millions of years, they have carved out very deep valleys and gorges, just like the one you see in this picture. It really shows their strength.
Okay, now let's begin our journey with the first of the three major river systems, the Indus. We are going to follow its long and amazing path right from its source in the Tibetan Plateau all the way down to the Arabian Sea.
If you look at this map, you can get an idea of just how huge the Indus system is. Notice how it starts in Tibet, then flows towards the west, passing through Ladakh before it turns south and enters Pakistan. It is truly one of the great rivers of the world. Let's trace its journey in 5 clear steps. It starts in Tibet near the famous lake Mansarovar. From there, it flows west and enters India in the region of Ladakh. After flowing through the mountains of Kashmir, it then enters Pakistan, and finally, it completes its long journey by draining into the Arabian Sea. Now, a great river like the Indus is fed by many smaller rivers, which we call tributaries. It's useful to note the ones that join in the Kashmir region, like the Zaskar and the Nubra. And then later, the 5 famous rivers of Punjab, the Satluj, the Beas, the Ravi, the Chenab, and the Jhelum, all join together before meeting the Indus in Pakistan. Now, here's a very important point about the Indus River. It is about the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. You see, because this huge river system flows through both India and Pakistan, an agreement was needed to share the water peacefully. This treaty is a very important example of how countries can cooperate over a shared natural resource like water. Next, we come to the Ganga River system. The Ganga is perhaps the most important river in India. It has the largest river basin in our country, which means it waters a huge, fertile plain that supports millions and millions of people. The journey of the Ganga begins right here, at a place called Devaprayag. This is where its 2 main source streams, which are called head streams, the Bhagirathi and the Alaknanda, meet. From this meeting point, or confluence, the river is known as the Ganga. So, after it comes out of the mountains and onto the vast plains at Haridwar, the Ganga flows towards the east. It is joined by many major tributaries along the way. When it reaches Farakka in West Bengal, it splits. One branch, the Hooghly, goes south, while the main river enters Bangladesh, where it joins the Brahmaputra to form the world's largest delta, the Sundarbans. Now here is a fascinating fact about the Ganga. On the flat plains, it doesn't flow in a straight line. Instead, it forms large looping bends. These are called meanders. And this happens simply because the land is so flat. The slope is so gentle that the river slows down and begins to snake its way across the land. Many of the Ganga's tributaries bring a lot of water from the Himalayas. This can cause heavy floods, which, on one hand, cause a lot of damage to life and property. But there is another side to the story. On the other hand, these floodwaters also leave behind a fresh layer of very fine, fertile soil, which makes the plains excellent for agriculture. Let's move on to our third and final Himalayan system, the Brahmaputra. This is a truly mighty river that flows through the eastern part of India. And what's really interesting is that it's a river of many names. Its name changes as it travels through different places.
Now, please pay close attention here, as this is a very common question in exams. In Tibet, where it starts, it is called the Tung Po. It then takes a sharp U-turn and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh, where it is called the Dihang. In the plains of Assam, it is finally called the Brahmaputra, and when it enters Bangladesh, it is known as the Jamuna.
A very special feature of this river, especially when it flows through Assam, is its braided channel. Now, what does that mean? Imagine the river is carrying a lot of silt, and it starts to deposit this silt in its own path. This forces the water to split into many small channels that flow around these deposits, creating a pattern that looks like a braid. And this also forms many large islands in the middle of the river. The Brahmaputra is known for causing huge floods almost every year, and there are a few clear reasons for this. First, it flows through a region that gets very, very heavy rainfall, so it carries a massive amount of water. Second, it also carries a lot of silt. This silt gets deposited on the riverbed, which raises the bed and makes the river shallower, causing it to overflow its banks very easily. So, now that we have looked at all three systems one by one, let's put them side by side. This will help us to quickly revise and remember their most important and unique features. This table gives us a wonderful summary. It clearly shows us the different origins, the main feature of each river system, and of course, those important alternate names that we need to remember. This is a very helpful tool for revision. All right, it's time to lock in the key takeaways from our lesson today. Let's quickly go over the most important things we've learned about these incredible Himalayan rivers. And finally, before we end, here is my most important tip for you. To really understand and remember this topic, please take out a map of India and, with a pencil, trace the paths of the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. When you see their journey visually, it will help you remember their courses much, much better.